Okay, we'll walk you through a little bit of the test equipment here. We've got two different types that we'll be using. One's called a qualifier by Fluke. This one does wire mapping and does some testing of the cable to tell you whether it's good or bad, but it doesn't do quite the job that the Certifier does. The Certifier here is a two-part piece. We'll walk through the calibration on that, but this will test the cable to make sure that it will do the speeds that it was designed to do. It actually tests the cable to make sure when you walk away that it is up to the standards that are recommended. So first off, we'll take a quick look at some of the different faults that we might find on the qualifier. So first thing we'll do is turn on the qualifier. Again, the two test set cables that come with it when needed in the field, but we'll just take a couple of bad cables and we'll test those so that you get to see what it looks like for the different scenarios. The very first one I'm going to show you is an open cable. So one thing that the qualifier will do is you can see that the lines that do not go all the way to the top, those are the open wires that are in this cable. And if you look at it, notice there's only, it gives you numbers across the top of the screen or across the bottom. This corresponds to your 568A or 568B. You have to know which one you're using to know what color wire that is actually your problem. In this case, like 6, if this was a 568B, this would be your green wire, and the 8th wire would be your brown wire. So we'd know which wires we need to look for when we're troubleshooting the cable. So this is what an open appears like on your wire mapping. The next cable I've got is going to show what it looks like when you see a short on a wire map. Notice again the dot and the line going to another one. That is the pair that, or the wires that are shorted. In this case, wire position number 2 and position number 8. Again, if we looked at that, that would, if it's a 568B, that would be our orange wire and our brown wire. If we had an A, this would be a green wire and our brown wire. Again, it's important to know what particular standard we're using. Okay, that's a short on a wire map. This one is what we call a split pair. Notice we have 3 and 4 that are actually crossed, but with the dark lines it's showing us which pairs are split. 3 and 6 would be either our orange pair or our green pair, depending on which standard we're using, and 4 and 5, that's our blue pair. So it's showing us that we have a split pair. Actually, wires 3 and 4 are crossed. Now in this case, if this was a 568B, we'd have our green-white and our blue-white would actually be reversed on one of the connectors. So again, that is a split pair. As you can see, it does tell us most of the time what we call it actually on this wire mapper. Our last cable here is actually going to show us a reverse pair. If you look, 7 and 8 are reversed. We call it a reverse pair because that is the brown and brown-white pair. They actually are just reversed. They're not split with another pair, they're just reversed between themselves. And if we had an actual A to B, or what we call a cross pair, that would be, again, it would show the 4 wires that are actually crossed. In other words, we'd have the green, white, and green pair would go to the orange, white, and orange on the other side. So we'd actually have what we call a cross pair. I don't have one of those cables made up, but you'll see the cross pairs throughout some of the tests that you'll do. So those are the scenarios that we see on the wire mapper. We test the cables and we use the wire mapper. What we're looking for is on a straight through cable is basically all the wires end to end straight with no crosses or anything like that. So this would be a good cable. Okay, we'll move on to the Certifier. In this particular, we'll start by calibrating the Certifier. Again, this piece of equipment does an awful lot of features, so we're not going to cover all of them, but I'll show you how to calibrate it, and then we'll show you in another one how to perform a test. Again, with the calibration, we're going to use the supplied cables that come with it. In this case, we're going to hook up the main cable to the main unit, and we're going to hook up the channel cable, the channel adapter, to the remote unit. Again, then when we're all done with, we have those particular pieces in place, we'll take and connect the cable into the remote. We'll go to the tools portion of the Certifier. We'll go to the set reference command, and then it will actually tell us which ones of these we're supposed to be using. Once we have those correct, we'll just hit the test button. There's a couple of test buttons. There's an on-screen or a test button. And what it's going to do now is set up all of the references between these two units. So once that's done, it should show that it is completed. Push the done button, and we can go back to the home button, and now we can set up for testing cables.